The battle of the QEW heats up as the Maple Leafs look to clinch the division title tonight. You're listening to the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.
You're Locked On Maple Leafs, your daily podcast on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome into the Locked On Leafs podcast, a daily Maple Leaf-centric podcast hosted by myself, Mike DiStefano, and my co-host, Dave Morassutti. Does it feel like clinching day to you, Dave?
You got that feeling in the air a little bit here. I think so.
It's got that scent. Feel like tonight's the night?
Hope so. Hope so. Last thing you want is for it to be one of those nights that you don't want to make it hard on yourself. Let's just say that. Don't make it hard on yourself.
You don't want it to linger, you know? You don't want to just like a smelly fart. You don't want it to linger around. You just want it to come, go. Let's get it over and done with. Let's clinch the division tonight with a win against the Buffalo Sabres, and we can go on our merry way. Game 82 have no bearing on the record or what happens, and you could rest up some players, but got to get the job done tonight. Toronto heading down to Buffalo, their final road game of the regular season, taking on the Sabres. And if they win tonight, they clinch the division. If they get any point in any fashion, they win the division. They also can clinch the division if Tampa drops a point if they lose in any fashion as well. So, and the Lightning are taking on Florida today. They are in Tampa, so they do have the benefit of being a home team, but it's going to be, there'll be some message sending in that game because it looks like those two teams are in a collision course to be playing each other in round one. And I'd imagine tonight will kind of set the tone. So that's not going to be an easy one for Tampa. Regardless, I still think Toronto should be more concerned about getting the job done themselves. There's always a lot more to celebrate when you can clinch the division with a win yourself as opposed to the other team squandering, their chance. So I think a win tonight is crucial, and I feel pretty good about it, Dave. I know in years past, Buffalo has kind of given the Leafs some trouble, but this year Toronto's handled Buffalo pretty easily. They've won, the two games earlier this season. They've won 4 in a row against the Sabres, and the way that they're chugging right now, I think they're highly motivated to finish the year strong. And tonight's the night to clinch division and finish things up.
Yeah, I know it's just one of those things where it'll be nice to do it in front of the home fans, right? You know. People
what
from
a shot! What a shot!
People going, all the QEW is gonna be busy, man.
So you're telling me that they're gonna have home games for the next their next like 9 games are all home games?
I saw that it's like the last road game of the year, and I'm like, I don't think so.
That was Carolina.
Yeah, they're gonna have road game. They're gonna have a home game tonight in Buffalo. Obviously, the one at home in Toronto, playoff game starting in Toronto, then Ottawa. Like, there's no road games for the next little bit here.
Dave, you're jinxing the team. You're putting in the bad juju. You're tempting the hockey gods to do what they do best, and that's absolutely pick on the Maple Leafs and their fans. Let's not go there. Let's just focus on Toronto playing a sound hockey game wherever it's being played. And I like their chances. I think obviously there's a lot of motivation tonight because there's a lot of you talk about linger. There's some lingering milestones to hit too, right? Like we're gonna be full on Mitch Marner watch. He's 1 point away from getting to 100. Like you talk about like what's one of my FanDuel best bets tonight. Like that's Mitch Marner to record a point. I like him to get an assist, by the way, more so than a point. But I do like Marner to find the score sheet, and there's going to be a lot of motivation for him to find some production tonight. And he's done that a lot against the Buffalo Sabres, despite the Leafs' kind of ups and downs. Marner still has, I was looking at earlier today, 17 points in the last 10 games against the Sabres, 16 of them being assists in the last 10 games against the Sabres. So there's my FanDuel best bet for you. But, like that's a milestone that I know he wants to get to, and that's going to be important tonight. So, like, number one, make sure you win and clinch the division. Number two, let's try and get Marner a point in any fashion here, get him to 100, and then he doesn't have to worry about it and force things in game 82 like we saw happen, a couple of years ago when he was on that chase and didn't quite get there. Hopefully he can lock it up in game 81 and everything can kind of get locked up here.
You just don't want that to be selling on the last game of the regular season. He has to think about I know he's kind of said that it doesn't really matter. Like, he's not thinking a lot about it. He's thinking about it. Like,
oh yeah, he wants it.
Like,
He'll want it too, because I would imagine we will see him shooting a little bit more than usual today. Like, he's not a big time shooter. Don't get me wrong. I still think he's going to pass the puck and make his plays. But I do think that maybe he'll end up with like 2, 3, 4 shots tonight, as opposed to, his typical like 1.5 on average he's registering per game. I think he'll be a little motivated to try and get that goal, try and get a bounce of some kind just to make sure he gets that point. But yeah, I think there's serious motivation for him tonight.
Oh, there's massive. Yeah, I know that at this point they know that they can just lock things down. You play your game, it's gonna have twofold. I know they're we think about what the team needs to accomplish first. Well, if you do your part and get your points, the team should be able to get the win that they need. So it's kind of just all twofold. It's nice to me that there's still a little something to play for these guys, so that they're not just going to totally coast a bit here. But it'll be interesting to see if Marner really does, as you say, step up and try to be more of a. He's a facilitator, but maybe he'll try to facilitate for himself a little bit more.
All right, so the Leafs can potentially win the Atlantic Division for the first time since the Atlantic Division has been a thing since its inception. That's one milestone. Mitch Marner, 100 points. That's another potential milestone. I've got 2 more possible milestones that the Maple Leafs could reach tonight. We'll get to those next here in the Locked On Leafs podcast.
Today's show is brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, give you 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you fuller longer. If you don't want the mess, go for the no-shell variety. It's perfect if you want to work at your desk or you're out on the go and you just want to, eat, throw the bag away, and you're done. That's why I like the no-shell variety. But they also have the classic in-shell options that are a classic. They have many different flavors, too, that you can look at. So make sure you go and check all that out at wonderfulpistachios.com. Get snacking and cracking with the snack that packs a protein bunch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. Mike DiStefano, Dave Morassutti with you, as always, Monday through Friday. Wherever you get your podcast, at both audio and visual, you can find it on YouTube as well. So the Leafs in Buffalo tonight. Looks like Owen Power's injury is pretty serious that he suffered the other night. Will not be in the lineup tonight. His season is over, obviously. But Lindy Ruff just coming out moments ago saying that no Owen Power tonight against his hometown team. So that's one of their top defenders that Toronto will not have to worry about tonight when taking on the Buffalo Sabres. So, Dave, we've been talking about how we're on milestone watch for tonight's game. We're hoping that they get the win, clinch a division. We hope that Toronto or Mitch Marner can somehow get a point in this game and get to 100. There's also, I would say, 2 other milestones, and let me know if there's anything else that I missed that I think would kind of make it a perfect night for Toronto. Hopefully on that 100th point. I want it to be an assist, and I want it to be on an Auston Matthews goal. Because if I'm not mistaken, Auston Matthews is currently sitting on goal number 399. And if he gets his 400th tonight, it would make him the fastest player in NHL history to get to active player to get to 400 goals in his career, would surpass Ovechkin for fastest to 400. I think that would be a pretty good milestone to end the regular season on, to give you a nice little boost heading into a postseason.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of one where it hasn't been the season that Auston Matthews was expecting. Obviously production wise and just with the injuries and stuff, but it's like the fact that he'll get to 400 if he does score, do it in fewer games than Ovechkin, by the way, too. So like that's that's a big milestone in any case, because like there are players. I think I just saw like Jamie Benn just recently scored his 400th goal, and he's played a lot of games. So like
Long time.
Right? There aren't many people that there aren't many players that get to that milestone, let alone play long enough to reach these milestones. So for Matthews to do it, and he's got, hopefully a lot more time in this league, kind of shows, we should be expecting quite a few milestones for Matthews down the road here.
There are only currently 9 active players in the NHL who have 400 career goals. Only 9. There are 3 who are inching close to it. Did Jamie Benn get it last night, actually?
Yeah, he got it last night.
Okay, so Jamie Benn becomes a 10th. So there are now 10 players with 400 goals in their career, with both Matthews and Leon sitting on 399, looking to join that 400 club for active players. But yeah, like Matthews is by far and away the youngest player to do it. I mean, the next to him is Leon, who's at 399, and he's 2 years younger than Auston. Everyone else, I mean, we're talking Ovi, Sid, Stammer, Malkin, Tavares, Patty Kane, Corey Perry, Andre Kopitar. Actually, I'm kind of surprised to see Kopitar. I never think of Kopitar as like a goal scorer, but he's got 440 tucks in his career. But Kopitar is in that list. And then Brad Marchand and then Jamie Benn joined that 10-player pack yesterday, and Auston Matthews will hope to join that list tonight, if he can score a goal against the Buffalo Sabres. And then lastly, I think the only other one that would which I don't know if it's necessarily that imperative to happen, but if John Tavares can somehow get himself a pair of goals tonight and get him to 40, just his second 40-goal season as a Maple Leaf, I think that'd be a pretty cool number and a good plateau or platform season for Tavares to get to, if he can score twice and get to 40 goals on the season.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't scored 40 since his first season.
Year. Yeah.
First year with the contract. So what a way to end that contract. Start with 40, end with 40.
Oh, I mean, like the season he's had is unbelievable. Like 74 points in 73 games right now, 38 goals. Like, and a lot of it coming, at 5-on-5. His 5-on-5 scoring way up this year than years past. It really is remarkable what he's been able to do this season. His shooting percentage has been astronomically high. I will give him that. He's shooting at 19% this year. His career shooting percentage is around 13.2%. So it's been a bit high this season, but I mean, he goes to the net and he's so good around the net, and he's just been so consistent. He battles, he works. He's deserving of 40 goals this year. I'll say that. Mm-hmm. If you look at, individual expected goals, Tavares is pretty high on that list this year, because he just gets himself into those scoring areas. In terms of high danger shots, Tavares is right in there at the top of the league for NHL Edge high danger stats. So, Tavares, he's deserving of the year that he's had, and it's pretty remarkable that at this age, at this point in his contract, that he's been able to have that type of season. It's interesting, though, because at the time of recording this, the Maple Leafs have not yet began skating. They are just getting ready to go. So maybe we can update this in a couple of minutes once the morning skate begins. That being said, Tavares is interesting. Like, I want him to play and go for, I want him to get to 40. Would you be surprised if they held Tavares out for the next 2 games, though? That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Um, I would say maybe not for tonight. Maybe for the final game at home, they would
Yeah.
consider it. I just seen from Josh Cloak that Camp, McCabe, and OEL are absent from the morning skate. So it looks like
Okay. Mermies is
uh,
sticking around.
yeah, we might get the lineup here very shortly. But if you look at the
Stolar's
year,
in the starter net too, so it looks like Anthony Stolar's is gonna
yeah,
make his final start before the playoffs. Final
mhm,
tune-up, if you will.
yeah. And if you look, and people are probably wondering like what's different from John Tavares this year, just go and look. I've been doing a lot of look at the NHL Edge stats.
Yeah.
16. I even think I'm going to do a little more. 20 of his goals. So half of his goals this year have come from in front of the net.
Yes.
He's in the 91 percentile for shots on goal.
High
But if
danger
you're looking
shots.
Pardon? Yeah, but if you're looking at high danger shots, high danger, 99 percentile.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what is I think feels different about John Tavares this year. He has been just a merch. He knows that that's where he needs to get his goals. Right?
Oh, 100%.
And if you're gonna wonder what's different this year for potentially for him, what could be potentially different for the Leafs come playoff time. In these tight games, you got to find ways to get to the front of that. You got to get to the high danger areas. We've always talked about that's something this team has struggled with. And John Tavares, it feels like he's really taken that to heart to really get into those positions.
Yeah, and he's been rewarded for it. 103 high danger shots on goal this year per NHL Edge stats, which is 5th in the NHL. So you get yourself to that area, and a guy like John who's got some of the best hands in the league when he's in front of the net like that, in and around the net. It's going to culminate in a successful year, and it truly has been that for Tavares. And he's just 2 goals away from reaching 40. Can he do it tonight? Perhaps. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Anthony Stolar's looking like he's going to be the starter tonight, presumably his final start before the playoffs, and then I would take that means that Woll will end up being out there against Detroit on Thursday to wrap things up. All right, when we come back, Dave, I've got a bit of a bone to pick with the NHLPA. The player poll came out, and there's one name omitted in the in the player poll for best forwards list. I'm sure you can think of who it might be and why it may be a bit puzzling. We'll tell you about that next here in the Locked On Leafs podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Upwork. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in the marketing, developing, design, and more experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives business flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. You can find the right talent if you need to help with a marketing campaign. Upwork can connect you with a freelance expert who delivers incredible results. Posting a job is free and simple, and within a day, with multiple qualified candidates to choose from, they'll find someone for you. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's Upwork.com. Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business today. The Locked On Leafs podcast continues. Mike DiStefano, Dave Morassutti. It's a game day for the Maple Leafs as they're going down to Buffalo to take on the Sabres, looking for the series sweep this season against the Buffalo Sabres. If they accomplish that goal, they will win the division, which is step one, right? That's got to be the regular season goal. You can't win the Stanley Cup in the regular season, but what you can win is your division to set you up best. And they got an opportunity to do that tonight, which is kind of wild because going into the year, like what percentage chance would you have said that this team was going to win the division this year? Like I did not give them that at all. Like I thought, okay, I could see them finishing second with home ice and probably third more likely. Like I still liked the Florida teams a little bit better than I did Toronto. And I also thought maybe there'd be some growing pains with Craig Berube, But the team's really, buckled down. They've gotten terrific goaltending all year long. They've kind of rode that through some offensive dry spells, and they find themselves 1 point away from wrapping up a division crown in Berube's first season. Pretty impressive.
It is very impressive, and that's why, again, like, I thought maybe they would compete for the division. I wasn't sure they were going to win just because Florida has always seemed to have the edge in that, and I'm hopefully that focus and that chase for it will make this year a little different, especially when it comes to the postseason, right? That the idea of you've got this advantage, don't miss out on that advantage. Like, don't let it go to waste is essentially what we're hoping for.
Yeah, 100%. So Leafs, Sabres tonight, KeyBank Center, aka Scotiabank Arena Junior. Just kidding. But there will be a lot of blue, white and blue in attendance. I can guarantee you that. All right. So the NHLPA player poll came out this morning, Dave. Not sure if you had a chance to take a look at it yet, but there was a big snub, in my opinion. So if you guys are unfamiliar with the player poll, the NHLPA gets sent out a poll essentially, and they get asked all these different questions like who's the best goalie, who's the best forward, the best defenseman, best most complete player. If you need to win a face-off, who would you rely on? Who's the smartest player? Who's got the best skating? A lot of different stuff, and also which player has the best fashion sense, which obviously both Matthews and Nylander did come number 2 and number 3 in the player poll for that one. So, usually that is the case. Pasta claiming top spot. Funny enough, the top 4 all in the Atlantic Division. Pasta, best fashion sense at 15.75. Actually, Pasta and Matthews both tied 15.75%. Then Willie, then Patrick Laine coming in at 4th. But where I thought there was a massive snub here, Dave, was the PA was asked who was the best overall forward. Somehow Auston Matthews did not creep up in the top 5. How's that possible? Like, I get it, he's having a down season, but how do you not recognize him as a top 5 forward in the NHL? Like, that seems like a massive snub to me.
He has been snubbed in a lot of, and they changed the categories for forward each year. It's like, who would be the forward you want in a must-win game? Who's this year? Who's the best overall forward? Who? Like, they've changed this poll. I mean, maybe it's good because you're not just going to get, maybe it forces the players to think a little differently when they're creating their answers. And okay, Connor McDavid, you're going to have him on the list. Nathan McKinnon, you're going to have him on the list. Sidney Crosby, 1,000% you're going to have him on the list. The two I
will say Crosby at this age, like, there's a conversation to be had. Like, Crosby right now at 38, is he a better player than Matthews right now?
Well, I don't even think that's my bone to pick with. I don't even think it's Crosby.
It's not, but I'm just saying I wouldn't just quickly be like, yeah, that makes sense to have Crosby there over Matthews.
I wouldn't put him over Matthews in my opinion. Like,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
But like the question is overall forward. I'm sorry. Nikita Kucherov gets a lot of points. He's a good scorer, but he is probably the most negative player defensively out of all the forwards you have. That, and they also have Kirill Kaprizov on the list. He's a good forward, but we're talking overall. I would think that includes being able to be somewhat reliable defensively. And if you've ever watched Nikita Kucherov play defense, it's like most Russian players. There is no defense. Like that's the one there where I'm like, yeah, Kucherov puts up a lot of points, gets a lot of goals. If that's the category you want to put him in, that's totally fine. But we're talking about best overall forward. And to me, that doesn't scream. That screams more of Auston Matthews than it does Kucherov. Matthews, first off, he played center. Like, I don't know how that doesn't account for the fact that he's really good at the faceoffs. He blocks shots.
It is interesting because they did have two different categories. One was best overall forward, and then most complete player.
Yeah.
You can make the argument that those can be looked upon as the same thing.
Yeah, and Matthews gets into the complete player category, but he doesn't get into the overall forward category, which I like. Honestly, they should have just said who's the best scoring forward, but then it's just like, or like who's the most offensively gifted forward, something along those lines. Because then, okay, I could see, although like Crosby gets points.
Well, yes, but like you're not going to put a guy who scored 69 goals last year on that list.
I know.
Who's nominated for the Ted Lindsay? Like, what are we doing here?
So the only thing I can say about this is this is obviously pulled. We don't know when exactly the players were pulled. It could have been when Matthews was out with injury and things like that.
You still think of him like Kaprizov's been out with injury all year too. Like Kaprizov, it has not been a rosy year for Kaprizov. I think Kaprizov's missed significantly more time than Matthews has this year. I'm pretty sure Kaprizov only played 40 games. Now he's got 25 goals in those 40 games. Very impressive. 56 points, but he's only played 40 games. So like injury, if you're going to say, oh, it may have been because of injury, well, Kaprizov shouldn't have been included in that list too then. Although I agree. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong. But I just thought when I was reading that today and looking for Auston Matthews, okay, where did he pop up here on the best overall forward list? Oh, he's not in the top 5. That's interesting. And seeing a Kirill Kaprizov and a Nikita Kucherov, two wingers, not really considered. I don't know. I just feel like it's a much harder position to play, center than it is to be playing wing. So that should have probably been taken into consideration. But I don't know. 655 players voted on this. Voted on it, and Matthews did not crack the top 5 apparently. McDavid, McKinnon, Kucherov, Crosby, and then Kirill Kaprizov.
I also got one more bone to pick.
Yep, go ahead.
They had another one here. If you need to win a face-off, who would you pick? No love for John Tavares, who's literally been one of the better face-off players this year.
Yeah, let me see. Where does let me check and see like who's leading the league in face-off percentage. I'm not even sure who leads the league right now. Let me check.
Because you have to do also a bit of a qualifier that a player has to have at least a certain number of face-offs, I would think.
Correct.
But on the list here, you got Crosby at 20.39%. Next best odds, Ryan O'Reilly, 9.95%. Anze Kopitar, 9.62%. Jordan Staal, 7.83%. And then Alexander Barkov, 7.83%. I don't know. I think John Tavares has been a better face-off player than a lot of these guys on this list. Now, there's a bit of that's another one where it's a bit of a reputation vote. I personally I don't think Ryan O'Reilly has been good on face-offs this year, at least not as good as he's been in the past.
Where's his win percentage? 55.5, 55.8%, but Tavares is 58.2.
Yeah.
You're right there. In terms of actually, Tavares has a better win percentage than this season than all those players that are in the top 5. So I think your bone to pick is correct. Tavares has been quite excellent in
Jordan Stahl's having one of his worst face-off years in a while. It's almost just like it's we look at it through the stats and how we view it, but on ice, John Tavares remains one of the better face-off guys this year. And he's doing a lot in the defensive zone. It's not like he's getting just offensive zone draws. Like, if I need a face-off one on the league, Craig Berube puts John Tavares on if they need a face-off one in overtime now. Like, we've never seen that before. And he goes and he does it. So, NHL players, get it right next time. Do better. Do better.
Do better. Do better. Absolutely. Tavares, we want justice for the face-offs and for best overall forward. The fact that Matthews didn't crack the top 5, I think, is kind of ridiculous as well. But hey, tied for best fashion. tied for best fashion, Dave. Can always hang your hat on best fashion.
And before we go to one final one that I thought was quite funny, who would be a good broadcaster once they retire? 4.85% Kevin Hayes leads the way. There was no absolute, this guy, he leads with less than 5%.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, though, because I think there's a lot of people, like, players don't really know a lot, so, like, they would probably just guess, like, one of their former teammates, right? So it kinda might make some sense for that to Eric Comrie's an interesting one at 3.1%. Like, he's a backup goalie, but somehow getting, a significant amount of votes. Like, Eric Johnson, Marcus Foligno. It's like, okay, it makes sense. Brad Marchand, 3.5%.
Brad Marchand should have gotten more votes. I would love you put him and Biz on a broadcast together and you just let the two of them cook.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, I could see that. The other one too, which PWHL rulebook change like to see in the NHL? The jailbreak goal coming in at 29%. I'm a fan of that one. If you're unfamiliar, it's basically if you score a shorthanded goal, the penalty's over. You get your guy back out onto the ice. You're rewarded not only with the shorty, but it kills the penalty as well. So I actually think that's a pretty cool rule that they have in the PWHL. I think that would be one that I would be.
It rewards players who score shorthanded goals that much more.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm also surprised how many voted in favor of the 3-2-1-0 point system. 24.36% like that rule.
Yeah, you know what? I get it though. Like it makes things easier a little bit.
Yeah.
To just understand the points, and I think
it validates those teams that win a regulation too. 100%.
Which that seems to only be, needed for like a tie break. But I think this would kind of eliminate some tiebreakers, making every game a 3-point game, not just ones that go to overtime. Right.
Exactly.
Alrighty. Is there any last final Leaf skates? We got the Lions coming out, and it doesn't look like there's going to be too many.
I call it the Carolina lines because they
pretty much
change. Domi on the left wing.
Yeah, how things ended in that game is basically what we got here. Nyes, Matthews, Marner, Domi, Tavares, Nylander, McMahon, Holmberg, Robertson, Lorentz, Lawton, and Yarncroc. Benoit Tanev, Riley Myers, Mermies, and Brandon Carlo with Stolars in net tonight. So the Leafs, with a win tonight, will win the Atlantic Division. We hope Marner gets his 100th point tonight. Maybe it comes off an Auston Matthews goal, which would be number 400 for him, or potentially 2 goals tonight for John Tavares to give him a 40-goal season, just the second of this 7-year contract. But the fact that it's come this late in the contract is quite remarkable. But that'll do it for us here today on the podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe to the Locked On Leafs podcast on all platforms and receive daily Leafs content. Follow myself on Twitter at Mickey_Canuck. Follow Dave at D_Morassutti, and follow the show as well at Locked On Leafs. You can also find us on Instagram at Locked On Leafs. We'll be back with another episode for you guys tomorrow. Enjoy the game tonight. Go Leafs, go. Until then, keep it locked right here on Locked On Leafs.